Hey everybody, John Foss. Very excited to be talking with Joe Berlinger. We're talking about the new documentary docu-series Shadowland, which is going to be on Peacock. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, well, the Atlantic Art magazine wrote some articles a couple of years ago called Shadowland, which was an online series of articles, and it was exploring conspiracy thinking. And at that time, I was thinking that I wanted to do something on conspiracy thinking, so we got together and decided to bring their articles to life. And so we go out into the country and find people who, believe things that are different from my beliefs. And I, instead of the normal kind of finger pointing and saying that they're bad for thinking these things or they're wrong, I wanted to just embed with people and understand how we've come to this place, because conspiracy thinking has been around forever, but it's always been on the fringes of society. But we now live in a society where conspiracy thinking has become very mainstream, and people wake up each morning and look up and say the sky is red, and that is the enemy of democracy, because democracy is about people coming together with different views but agreeing on basic facts and compromising for what's for the greater good. And that's just not happening anymore. The social and political discourse in this country is at an all-time low. We vilify each other, and when the population splits in two and each side hates each other, we've seen in history what that produces. It produces violence, it produces genocide, it produces the fall of governments. And I'm deeply concerned we're headed down that path.
One thing that I always find interesting, at least recently in the last few years, is like when I've heard a lot like something is a threat to democracy, but when you actually look at the United States, we're a republic. So I'm wondering, like, where does the democracy line come from for that, and what's the? I mean, it just I'm. Where does the democracy come from in that statement?
Well, I'm not sure I totally understand your question. I mean, democracy is about the people, agreeing on what's good for society, our elected officials, whether they're elected in a republic or a direct vote. The idea that we are split into two camps and do not talk to each other and have very different views about what's real, that that does not allow any kind of democratic institution to function.
What would make something a conspiracy theory? For example, like what if somebody's back in the 50s or something said smoking is bad, and then another person is like, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. But like there's also, if you look at it, the other view, it could be, you could look at it as we should be open-minded. We should debate things. We should have these disagreements. So what makes something a conspiracy theory, and what makes something just a good debate of ideas?
No, that's a great question. I mean, we can't eliminate critical analysis. I mean, today's conspiracy theory, as you mentioned, sometimes is tomorrow's reality. Tobacco companies lied, the oil industry downplayed climate change, the Tuskegee experiments were a horrible thing that turned out to be true. The CIA with MK Ultra, gave LSD to people with, so there are a lot of things that really do happen. But on the other hand, the idea that Democrats are a bunch of blood drinking pedophiles who traffic children, a lot of the QAnon beliefs, defy any kind of logic. So I don't have the answer of how you distinguish between the two, but we need news, we need reporting, we need investigation, we need critical analysis, but the ability to distinguish between what's true and not on some very basic realities, that's what's become very challenged and troubling for democracy.
Well, we also have like like in 2016, the narrative, like the entire time Trump was president, it was that the election was rigged. And then in 2020, the other side was saying the election was rigged. And then all of a sudden that was very bad. We couldn't talk about it and it was censored. So how come it just seems like one thing was bad that was the same thing, or is bad, but when it was done before that it was fine. What determines which things can be said, especially like when it comes to social media and in the media and stuff like that?
Well, I don't know if I necessarily agree that in 2016 we said the election was rigged, and that's why Donald Trump won. That you'll have to show me where that was said.
Stolen. He's an illegitimate president. He's an illegitimate president. You know, pretending to be president.
Why do you think the president is going to such great lengths to essentially prove that he beat you?
Because he didn't.
1/3 of Clinton supporters say Trump election is not legitimate.
But I agree with the general idea that it's hard to distinguish between what's real and what's not real on certain issues, but on certain issues it's pretty clear, that people are reading and being given false information. Drinking bleach every day, chlorine dioxide, is not a healthy thing. That's one of the conspiracy theories that we explore.
Okay. And yeah, when it comes to like I don't know if I wasn't trying to say that you said that the 2016 election was rigged, but clearly throughout the presidency of Trump, Hillary Clinton repeated that it was rigged. Did you see that?
I don't think she said the election was rigged, but we can agree to disagree there.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
Okay, sounds great. Well, I know you have a heart out, and this is a great debate. And I only ask those questions because this is the very interesting topic to me. And I've watched a little bit of the docuseries so far, and it's very interesting, and I can't wait to see the rest. So, Joe, thank you so much for being with us. And Twin Cities, make sure you check it out, Shadowland on Peacock. Appreciate it, Joe.
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Take care.